Right, hello. Well, back with another video, and it's for today's date for the Hoover Dam. Maybe something to do with Madonna as well. I don't know. It kind of would be interesting if they had some kind of surprise guest appearance from Madonna tomorrow, wouldn't it, in the Super Bowl? But we're looking at today's date. And we're going to go through a whole bunch of number jumps because I just happened to start putting a couple in just to check out things. And, you know, this is what I end up with, all these tabs here with number jumps that are all interesting. Don't usually get quite as many interesting number jumps, you know, when I look at a date. So the first thing to note is today's date is the 8th of February. Okay, when we look at the reduced set of Lucas numbers, 2 and 8 are the switchover points. In fact, the end of the cycle is 8, the beginning of the cycle is 2. Just like in Fibonacci, the end of the cycle is 9, and then it goes 1, 1 for the beginning of the cycle. Okay? So this date today is very, very important. It's even more important because if we recall, when we hit New Year, the Hoover Dam was 32,600 days old, yeah, on New Year's Eve. So, of course, New Year's is the beginning of another calendar cycle, okay? So it's a very important time to be turning a certain age. And to top it off, it's the 39th day of the year. And, of course, the birthday of the Hoover Dam, when it was dedicated, was the 30th of September, 1935, okay? So 39 stuff, I know it does have, or at least Route 39 used to go, 93 used to go across the top of the Hoover Dam as well, okay? And there's lots of other references to 39 right now with Pluto, obviously Pluto 218 with the discovery, but that was 1930 as well, okay? Right, all that done. This date is extremely interesting for sure for the Hoover Dam. These two numbers here, extremely, extremely interesting, and this date, extremely interesting with the idea of beginning a cycle over again, okay? So I'm wondering tonight in the midnight hour, you know, the thing is I don't see as much interesting stuff for 2-9. What's interesting about 2-9, tomorrow's date for the Super Bowl, is the fact that I'll just talk about this because we'll probably go to the table in a minute. But in the chart of Lorraine, our midpoint, you know, our special set of numbers, or the two numbers that appear in the two towers, the two columns that are the middle of the table, and the middle of those two towers is 11 and 18. 11 and 18 reduces to, you can reduce individually to a 911 and to a 218, like with 911 and Pluto, and then you can also reduce both of them and add them both together and it comes out at 29. The 29 is a super balanced number, so the idea of 2-8 going into 2-9 for the midnight hour tonight is, I think, fairly interesting, and it would definitely give them something to talk about, wouldn't it, all day at the Super Bowl and everything else. They talk about the Hoover Dam falling down. So that would be extremely interesting. But still, even just having these numbers the day before on the eve of maybe the event, very interesting. So while we're on the topic of the Super Bowl, and then we'll do all the number jumps, I want to show you something. Because who is going to be performing at the Super Bowl? Kendrick Lamar. Excuse me. Kendrick Lamar is performing at the Super Bowl. Check out this album okay, released the 14th of April. We'll look at a number jump with that. I think I've got one in there for this. And I do have a number jump in for his birthday. And look at the length of this album. 54, yeah? Now remember, we've been looking at all this mirror stuff with the 7 mirror, which was the 7th of January, okay? And also with the mirror stuff with the 7th of January, we've also been looking at the number 27 cropping up time and time again. Why is that important? Because in Lucas numbers, there's two sets of twins in each cycle. There's 3 different cycles. Fibonacci has 88 and 11. Lucas numbers has 22 and 77. And then pi numbers, or the pi cycle, has 44 and 55. Okay, and those are the 3 sets of twins. Okay. What is interesting about this, again, the 4 and the 5 with the pi cycle, and also the idea that 27 is half of 54, and then we're jumping into Lucas numbers, okay? So, super fascinating, and of course with 27, what was I going to say with 27? No, that's gone from my mind now. 3 nines. 3 nines. 3 nines are 27, 39, okay? The problem is I forget to say all these things as I'm going through every video that I do. You know, we have to get through this stuff pretty quick. There's a ton. Okay, so the name here, Damn, on this album, fascinating. I probably would imagine we're going to see something sung off of the album. I don't know what any of these songs sound like. I probably might have heard a few of his songs before on the radio, but I've really not got a clue about Kendrick Lamar. Maybe we'll hear this one, Humble, because of the 33 encoded in it. Interesting. What else did I want to say? I think we could. I'll tell you one other thing with that 33 and Lamar, because this is again another little personal reference for me. Because when I first came over to America to go and train to be a farrier, that's where I ended up. I ended up in Lamar, Missouri, and Lamar, Missouri is the birthplace of Harry Truman. Okay, now something interesting with Harry Truman and all this stuff about the idea of the dollar falling as the Hoover Dam falls, because the connections with all of the folds with the Hoover Dam on the dollar bill. So the idea of America falling as well with that thing, because America, that is it's one of the main symbols of America, isn't it? The world currency. Okay. The buck stops here is this famous sign that Truman had on his desk. You know, i.e., he takes responsibility for everything that's done on his watch. Yeah, the buck stops here, but the buck being the dollar bill, yeah, stopping with Harry Truman. Harry Truman, the 33rd president, took over from Roosevelt, interestingly enough, and the connections with Roosevelt and the dam, and also these plane crashes, kind of interesting. And also, Truman, also, the other slightly ominous thing is that he was the one that authorized the atomic bombing of Japan. Yeah, the 2 bombs that were dropped on Japan. So, oh dear, I don't know. Trinity, 33. Anyway, so we've got, let's go back to Kendrick. June the 17th, we're going to do a number jump with June the 17th as well in here. So we just want to pay attention to his birthday, which again is well interesting with this 176, because today's date for Madonna to today's date is I think it's 176 days today. I'll have to double check that when we go through the numbers, but that is fairly interesting as well. And there was something else interesting with his birthday jump to today's date. It landed out on a prime number as well, which also tied kind of back in with Madonna. Anyway, we'll go through all these number jumps now. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to. I got all kinds of crud up here. Still got stuff from the other day as well. Let's go through all these number jumps. They're in no particular order, just as I was thinking, I'll do a number jump. So the first one I've got in here is the Hoover Dam's birthday through to today's date. Guess what? 89 years, 131 days. 131 days. Also, what is really, really special about this is if we look at the number of days here. Check the number of days out. Are you seeing a synchronicity here with these number of days? 32639 and the day of the year that 28 is. Okay? Go back to this a second. 28, yeah? 39th day of the year. 326 days left. And look at this. 326, 326 days left in the year, 39 days gone. So this is like a really nice, ties back on itself number today. It is a really nice tie back in itself number. Not to mention the 131. Okay, the 131, 131 days. Okay, that is on the black train in Back to the Future. Now, we can tie that black train to a certain individual in Back to the Future. We can tie that train to Eric Stoltz because Eric Stoltz is the, if you look at the way they filmed that thing, and they had him in the start of the film, okay, and then they replaced him with Michael J. Fox. He is clothed in pretty much all black, okay? He's representing the eclipse in that film, okay? So if Eric Stoltz is representing the eclipse, he's representing this number here, okay? The idea of going into the dam. This is his birthday, okay? Eric Stoltz is born on the 30th of September as well, the same as the dam. This idea of going into the dam, and when you go into the dam you die. So Eric Stoltz is playing this character that's dressed in black. I think it's completely deliberate. And what happens is, at the end of Back to the Future, Marty is pushed home and something is sacrificed as Marty is reborn on the 127 numerology, okay, which we'll come on to in a little bit, but something is reborn, something is sacrificed, something that is black, that is representing the eclipse again, is sacrificed. And that is the train, which would be Eric Stoltz, okay, the twin that is locked in, that's the twin that is locked in as the, as the Black Pearl. And that is the thing that saves Marty at the end of the day. That thing dying, that thing being destroyed. 131 for that train. Absolutely mental. I don't know what else to say about this date, tying in on itself. Okay. Alright. Okay, what have I got here? This is month. This is Diana's birthday. And what's well interesting about this is that through to the day before, okay, to 7, so yesterday's date, it's a palindromic number. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. This is relatively interesting as well. And it'd be 60, she would have been 63 years and 221 days old on yesterday's date, which is again is well interesting with that train, with the Montparnasse train wreck that happens on 10/22. Okay, so 122 numerology. Madonna, Diana the Day. This is a different version of Madonna, Princess Diana, Princess Di, 2323, and we did all the 23 stuff the other day. Again, this is relatively important. We'll come on to a 2-3 number jump in a minute, so you can see why that's relatively actually right next number jump. What's this? So from 1-7, okay, to 2-8 is 32 days. So this was the mirror date that's in January, and if you backtrack, well, I did that video on that mirror date. What led me to that mirror date was Diana. So Diana has, of course, got the same numbers. Check this, and then from the mirror date that we've been using in January, 32 days. And of course, if it was the midnight hour thing from 2/8 tonight into 2/9, which would take us into that Super Bowl, all the Super Bowl references now for an atomic bomb going off. We got the 33. So I honestly, right now, I really think the midnight hour tonight looks very interesting indeed. Okay, so there's the Diana stuff. Why is this also important? If you watch the film Demolition Man, yeah, the idea of demoing something. And I'll tell you the other interesting thing is that, again, I'm just going to talk through this because there's just too much to try and show a ton of different connections, but Rocco is Madonna's son, okay, and we had all these connections with boxing with Madonna through to Boxing Day, Rocco and Rocky, okay, and so the idea in Demolition Man is Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, okay, and so this idea of Demolition Man and what has to be demolished is the Matrix, the crony version of the Matrix has to be destroyed to start over again. And so this idea in Demolition Man was the thing that he couldn't get used to was the reference to going to the bathroom and having to use the three seashells to clean up afterwards. Okay, now the 3 seashells is a reference to Princess Diana's Spencer coat of arms. Okay, that's what that is to me. Okay, so if you look at the Spencer coat of arms, it's got 3 like scalpy type seashells on it, clamshells. Okay. Anyway, that's the Princess Diana stuff. Okay. Again, with the Princess Diana stuff, this is also kind of slightly ominous as well. From her death date through to today's date, 123. 123 numerology. 10,023 days. 123 is, again, we'll go to it in the chart of Lorraine in a minute, but this is to do with the end of a cycle. This is the 10th Lucas number, if you like, towards the end of a cycle. 27 again with the reference to Lucas numbers again, and 161 is the golden ratio, is the beginning of the golden ratio. Okay, 1.618. Sorry. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay, 414. This was the release date of that Kendrick Lamar album. Exactly 300 days as a number jump from last year to this particular day, and then obviously it's going to be 65 days the other way. So that's interesting as well. What do I have here? 9/11 through to today's date. We're in keeping with the 1/5 numerology. which 9/11 to Christmas is 105 days, and then so we have the same numerology occurring for today's date with the 15, 105, 15, the idea of rebirth. So the idea of Christmas coming out here. I thought that was interesting, and then I just kept going. 8/16, Madonna's birthday. Here's this 167, Kendrick Lamar's birthday numbers. Very interesting. Okay, and what's also interesting about this is, I'll show you this in a little bit, but there's a cross-reference in the chart of Lorraine with the number 1067. I think it's 1067. And that cross-references with the numbers of pi. So it's a 314 cross-reference, which is interesting because in the dartboard, her birthday numbers are opposite pi numbers, okay? I know this isn't going to make any sense to people that don't have the idea of the chart of Lorraine in their head, or they're new to the channel or whatever. Again, Christmas through to this day, bye-bye Miss American Pie, because 4-5 represents the pi, the two twins that are in the pi cycle, okay? And again, Donald Trump, the 45th, as well as the 47th. And also, look at this, 114 days. Coordinates for the Hoover Dam, 114. And also, there's a 114 jump in here that I'm going to show you, which ties nicely to Back to the Future in a second. So let's just keep going through these. What have I got here? This is Michael Jackson's birthday. This is just a personal reference for me. I thought I'd leave it in here. The 4th of... This reference is back to the 4th of February now, okay, with this number. 66 years, 163. 163 again, extremely important. They shone the goat up on the Hoover Dam, and the Colne FC gives you a 163, and 163 is also 1.63 is also the so the middle of the chart of Lorraine is the 1118, okay? That 1118 is, if you divide 18 by 11, it will give you 1.63, which is, this is an approximation for 5 that just happens to be at the center of the chart of Lorraine, you know, at the center of Lucas numbers. So 163 is super duper important, okay? And the 66, 163, I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. I don't think we need seamless. I don't think we need that one. There's probably something interesting on it. Okay. So I thought I would go back from tomorrow's date. Okay, here we've got tomorrow's date, Super Bowl day, back to that particular day, or you could do this as well to cheat it and get it on that day, include the end date. So it's, you know, kind of either or. But if we drop backwards, okay, 923 is always interesting because it's the flip over from, well, 922. It's really the flip over from Virgo to Libra, okay, which is Mary to Christ, which is a birthing date, which is another date that ties back to the idea of the birth of Christ. A personal reference to me as well, and it's also a reference to plutonium, 239. It's 139 days, okay? Remember, there's 2 birthdays for the Hoover Dam. One is 39 numerology, and the other one is 31 numerology. One is the federal takeover, when the companies that were building the thing finally handed it over to the federal government, and then the other one is the day they dedicated it. Okay, so the 39 references in 1935, the 31 references in 1936, and then they started generating power on 9/11 from the dam or something like that in 1936 as well. So 139 is well important. And 139 is also a completion number in the chart of Lorraine, a totals number. It's the totals for the 7 column, which again is vitally important with Lucas numbers, okay? And lucky numbers, Lucas, lucky, and the lucky number 7, okay, maybe that's where some of that idea originates from. 1010, the $10 bill has the 1010 fold, which gives you the dam. 1010 is a super interesting, we have the Sator square as well with the 1010 in it, and we're going 121 days, the lightning bolt, and this is also encoded in the Back to the Future 2 as the date for the hoverboard scene where the front of the glass door, which is the monolith or it's the Vesica Pisces that is opened up and shattered, yeah, because the clock tower is the dam, okay, and so this all takes place on 121 gigawatts and the connection to the dam, okay, and again 3 months, 29 days, again with the 329 numbers, and 17 weeks, 2 days. I mean, you know, you look at the variations as well. I'm not going to do every lot of variations. There's a lot of interesting stuff with the variations. Again, this is the Great Scott, St. Andrew's birthday, also Billy Idol's birthday, 70 days. He's got his buddy Steve Stevens, which encodes a 7, okay, the number 7 or 77. We've looked at before with him, but the number 7 with Steve Stevens is his sort of twin partner. And look at the, you know, 2 months, 9 days again, you know, for tomorrow's date. So it's all interesting stuff. Elvis's birthday, David Bowie with 31 days on, yeah, the federal takeover of the Hoover Dam, March the 1st. Okay, 13. Okay, what else we got here? 9/11, 2001 through, there wasn't anything that was majorly interesting to me. If you can see something interesting there, 8551, or if you include the end date, 8552, that was kind of interesting with the 25 at the end of that. And I feel I've seen a 2585 number somewhere before, but I can't remember what it was. It might have been looking at this date, actually. That's where I might have seen it before. 23 years, okay, and 150 days, which we already talked about. Was there anything interesting? 7484 composite number. Nothing that I'm not off the top of my head anything majorly interesting with that at all, actually. Anyway, let's just move on. Just go back that 1 second. Hang on. 15. Okay. All right. Anyway, beginning of the United States of America through to today's date. Check this out with the 9/7 stuff. Yeah, plane crash. 9/7 in the gematria. So this is kind of interesting. And look, if you just backtrack to yesterday's date, was well interesting as well. So, like a lot of these dates, like we're in a period right now where, you know, a day or two each way as well has got some fairly interesting other number jumps as well. So this through to 27, we've got the Pluto reference on the end of this as well. So we've got the Pluto reference in years, and then we've got the Pluto reference with the discovery date, okay, and then we're moving on to today's date, okay. What else we got? Oh, and the other thing to note about that as well is this 219 or 192 or 129. Those numbers all tie into dollar bill fold with TIA, TIA, the fold that I've shown before, the TIA fold. Okay. What else we got? Starting to lose my voice. 514. I just put this in here for fun. This is wake me up before you go. Okay. there is with the boom boom in the song and all the rest of it, and the jitterbug kind of reminds me of the whatever them things were in World War II, the doodlebug things. But anyway, 5/14 is the release date, 270 days, 27 in here again, and also 8 months, 25 days was a nice tie back with Back to the Future, Wake Me Up Before You Go, because all the clocks go off like like it's an alarm clock going off, and 8:25 is the actual time on the all the clocks have been set late, so it's like he's late, and this is the song Wake Me Up Before You Go, okay, and it's 8 months, 25 days. I just thought it was a nice connection, if you get what I'm saying there, with the clocks at the start of Back to the Future and Marty being late and the 8:25 reference in that point. I tell you, there's another, actually I might have the start of Back to the Future up and I'll show you something, but we'll just talk about it probably. Queen's birthday through to 2/8, 72 days. You see all the 27s and 72s coming up now. 2/13, 2 months, 13 days. 2/13, restart, okay? Again, Michael J. Fox's birthday, Johnny Depp, but Michael J. Fox, this reference in particular for his birthday last year through is 121 days. Yeah? So to this date. So for the rebirth, we've got a connection to birthday, we've got a connection with Michael J. Fox to 1.21 gigawatts, and going through to today's date. That's, I mean, it's just, there's just too much stuff here, that's too, just seems like an awful lot. The creation of Pluto, I just thought I'd put that in for a laugh. The creation of Pluto, that might be a Freudian slip there, or a truth drop. 2/18, okay, 1930 is when it was supposed to be discovered, and another little personal reference there is that the guy that discovered Pluto, we've got one of his telescopes. My wife just works right next to that thing. It's right at the same, she works at the place where it's at, so it's kind of interesting. And through to this day, 94356, so we've got, what do we have? Maybe Porsche numbers there. Then what else we've got? We've got, 519. I want to put this in because of We Seek, We Find. He's always got a ton of interesting stuff that kind of half overlaps with the stuff that I look at. The 519 date, 2/8 through to 519 is exactly 100 days, and it's 3 months, 11 days, which is our 311 man reference, and that's also a 9/11 reference, and 100 days. That's again with the dollar bill and the idea of completion and number one. I mean, that's fascinating. This was really interesting as well with Back to the Future. 114, which is Hoover Dam coordinates, the 114, the CRM 114. If we go from the 14th of January, okay, and Marty there's a reference to the clocks being 25 minutes late at the start of Back to the Future, which we was just talking about, and this happens to be 25 days after the 114. Now, what's interesting about 114 is, if you go back to the start of Back to the Future and watch Marty plugging into the amp, you will notice that CRM 114 is on the amp, okay, which becomes more fascinating as the amp blows up and then Marty says he's late and the clocks are 25 minutes off. So 25 minutes late, the clocks are 25 minutes, should be 25 minutes running, well, what they're showing is 25 minutes earlier than what they are. So in essence, we're 25 minutes late. Is that right? Anyway, don't matter. 25 is referenced, this is referenced, and the idea of being late, okay? And this is being late from this date, 25 days. So again, it's fascinating stuff, and obviously 1 1¼ would be this numerology as well, except we'd have a flash coming through the quarter here, and then we have the 25 here. So this is also an interesting idea with the 1¼ that's on the dollar bill. Getting towards the end now. 10/11 is 90 days. Okay. Through to this date. Okay, so kind of interesting. I mean, not mega interesting, but 2 months, 29 days, and you can do the other way around as well. There's 120 days. Okay, so 121. Oh, it was 12. It's the 12th that did that. Okay, yeah. So 120 days and 90 days are encoded with our 10/11 numbers in the dollar bill. Okay, and of course you could go back the other way. We'll just check those out. 245 and 275. Okay, and of course you can look at these other bits, 392, and you'll be able to pick out something interesting there, I'm sure. This was my other big one that I thought was really crazy as well. The clock tower date of 10:04, which a lot of people refer that 10:04 back to the month October the 4th. Okay, check it out. 127 days. We got our 127 in there finally. And remember, the clock tower stops, and Marty's final jump home is 127. It's 10 on 10/27. Okay, so he's coming back on the 27th of October, and so this ties extremely nicely with the death of the clock tower and then the rebirth of Marty. Okay, look at this, 4 months, 4 days. Remember, with our 1 eclipse bunch of number jumps, the new year was 444 days on from, I can't remember which one it was now. I think it was the 10/14 eclipse date as well. Was New Year's, it was either New Year's or the first, I don't know which date it was, but it was 444 days. And I think it was the 10/14 eclipse. Okay, getting really close to the end. Oh, I just wanted to mention this. I was watching Steve Fletcher 222, and he was doing something. Oh, I haven't even finished watching the video yet, but he was doing something on this Alaskan airplane flight that went missing, and he was making this tie back to, I don't even know what film it was actually, but to one of her films, and it just made me think about her and the Fifth Element. And in the Fifth Element, what happens is, she is the Fifth Element, okay, and what happens is, with the Stargate references, yeah, in the film, hang on, I've got the thing here, they all go into the pyramid in the Fifth Element, and they're trying to figure out how to open up the stones or whatever it is. They put their 4 stones in place, and she's going to stand in the middle of the pyramid, and they finally get all the stones, the 4 pillars of Earth, working, and then it shoots beams into her, and then it shoots a beam straight up, okay, out of the top of the pyramid, which hits the black pearl that's coming to destroy Earth, and it turns it into what? Back into the divine goddess, back into the white moon again. And we have another moon sitting up there. And this is, again, the symbolism is very, very similar to Stargate here, okay, and what is on the back of the dollar bill, okay. And so this ring here, like the moon, is going to turn from the black pearl back into the white pure goddess. So I just thought that was interesting. Old Steve Fletcher. I've finished watching that video and see if there's anything else in there. Maybe he mentioned that in there, I don't know. But here we go. Kendrick Lamar's birthday. Okay. Check it out. Check it out. What is interesting about that from his birthday on is you can't write this stuff. 236 days. It happens to be 37 years old, which is fascinating because I might have it up here. I've got steam locomotive. Oh look, train 61 steam locomotive. I thought I'd put all the stuff in the Back to the Future that kind of sticks in my head. We've got Marty's birthday, train with the Madonna stuff, 62, 26, 37. And don't forget, Madonna's pretty much the same as this with the 37 as well. So this connection with Kendrick Lamar and Madonna, I don't know, maybe Madonna will show up tomorrow for the Super Bowl. Maybe she'll die at midnight tonight or something stupid or whatever. I don't know. But, there's an awful lot of stuff. So June 17th, and we did her, can't remember where that was, somewhere further on. We did the 1/7 with hers, didn't we? Can't remember if we did that now or not. Hang on a minute. Maybe I didn't show you that. Oh yeah, we did. It was right here. Yeah. Her birthday numbers, her birthday through to today's date, 176, same as his birthday numbers. And if we go back to him again now, and then we click on this, okay, so we've got the 236 in there. Check it out, 1626 with the train numbers in here with the 6226, and the number 16 as well with steam locomotive, and also 162. 1.626 probably. I don't know what numbers you've got to have to get that golden ratio approximation, but it might be interesting it might be an interesting set of numbers that comes to that approximation. I know the 1118 is 1.6363636363, so it's not far off. Not far off that again. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. That's just interesting that it's a prime, and it's got this golden ratio at the start of it, and also the 6220. Again, it just ties with Madonna quite nicely. And you look, day of the year. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of interesting as well with Madonna's numbers for the day of the year. Okay. 16th of August. So he's got this nice tie-in with Madonna, I guess. So if you couldn't put Madonna in the Super Bowl, you put a male version that ties to that idea. What was this? Plane crash. Oh, plane crash, might as well show you that as well. 9/7. Yeah. Oh dear. That is it. And we've got St. Patrick's Day as well. 173. Oh dear. My voice is about to go anyway, so I'm going to call it a day. That is way too long of a video, I'm sure, but we didn't even... Oh! Blimmin' hell, let me show you this. Nope. Scrap the end of the video. Let's tack on another 10 minutes here. This is the Stargate. Okay, there's several different versions of this depending on how open this is. This is it fully open right here. When I say fully open, we get a Vesica Pisces version of this and a very small, tiny little crack version where it's closed as well. And of course we get different variations of letters that are left. If we have it fully open, look at these letters that are up here, okay? 20, so we'll just take the 2 out of that. 8, and then we've got a bit of the I left here, which is a 9. Then we've got a 3, and then we've got a 1. Now, I'm not being funny, but look at that. We've got the 139 numbers connecting with the Hoover Dam right here. These, this 93, the 39, the 39th day of the year is 28. Okay, so this is extremely interesting. Sticker. Okay, and then there's this little fishy thing at the bottom, this little fish at the bottom, which could represent a sperm entering back into there. It also looks a bit like the Twitter bird on it going straight up as well. You could maybe draw a blue little, it's got the little, you know what I mean? And then his beak would be right here, if you can see this. And then he had some feet right here. The little Twitter bird going back into here. Okay, so super duper important. And well, there's a couple of other things that I wanted to mention. Okay, so this is the Stargate. It's fully open at this point. And we've got this 2.8 reference. And I guess you've even got a 2.9 reference in there if you really wanted it, depending on what you were going to pick out. So, but this is interesting the way it is written here, like 2.8, and then we got the numbers of the Hoover Dam there on the tail end of that. Let me show you something else. Let's go to the chart of Lorraine real quick while we're here, just so we can see, just so I can go through some of that stuff with you about. So here's the middle of the table. Yeah. Okay. 1118, this can reduce to a 2, 218, this can reduce to a 9, 11, 9, 9, 11. These can both reduce to a 2 and a 9, and then 29, which is tomorrow's date. Note that this is in the 7s column. Notice that 13 is very important with the birth of the Hoover Dam as well, with the federal takeover. Note we had the 37 there in with the train and everything else, and Madonna. 53 obviously, gosh, it just goes on, doesn't it? And then this down the bottom here, the 139 is the total for this column. The total for the metaphysical is 55. The total for the physical column, this is 5 and 6. Okay. And then the 56 prime number gives you the 911. 55 and 88. Okay. Obviously, Truman's birthday is the I want to say the 8th of May. Okay, so this is very important with Truman again and being the 33rd president and all this sort of tie in here, and with Lamar, and Lamar being his birthplace, because we're dealing with birth, resurrection, rebirth. Okay, so this is important with Truman with 33, and these two added together gives you the 143, which pairs with 222 for a full calendar year. And what is interesting about that is this 222 then ties back in with 9/11, with 111, and 143. 1943 was Operation Chastise, which is the Dam Busters. Okay, and the start of the cycle here is in the dollar bill as a number jump with 155 days from 9/11. Pinch your one off of there. This is the lightning bolt that gets us back to 213 to the start. And if we were to reduce this cycle, our end number after 24 digits would be 8. This is number 24 coming through to 2. So 8-2 is the end and the beginning, just as this 0 would actually be a 9. And so 9/11 was an end and a beginning. Okay. Again, Diana stuff with the 0023 in there. Diana stuff again with the 0023. Was that from her? That was from her death date through to this particular date, yeah. And 321, the final countdown, is the total up to this point here. Now here's this Madonna number. Okay, the 176. It's in the pyro to begin with, and what makes this a sort of double down on the pi idea is when we do our cross-reference, row and column 314 is showing up again for this number. Okay, so Kendrick Lamar's birthday as well with this number is a very strong pi reference. Bye bye Miss American Pie. Okay, and don't forget that the owl fold in the dollar bill gives us this number. Okay, it does it with letters. It makes a P and an I, you know, with the little shield thing comes down and makes the I. So you have the P and the I, and it makes the 1011, which the 10th of November is the 314th day of the year. So it's a double pi reference, and the little dude that is right here at the top of that thing is Mr. Owly himself, okay? The superb owl makes that reference back to pi. Okay? So, and we've got, happen to have a guy doing the halftime show that was born on these numbers here, this 176 numerology, which again is tying nicely in with Madonna's numerology for that day as well. It's just absolutely nuts. Was there anything else I want to show you here? Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't forget this. This is pretty important. Somebody's probably looked at this and shouting at the screen, Dan, retard, come on. Here. Look at the cross-reference here for 139 now. Okay? Yeah? 9, 5. Super Bowl 59 and this 139 reference. Okay? And then let's go above with the plane crash stuff with 97 and also the age of the United States. I can't remember what it was, but it was 97 something 99 or something like that. It was all 9s and 7s. Look at our cross-reference. 39 cross-reference for this. Oh, I'm about done. Also, check out the number 59 here. Super Bowl 59, Kendrick Lamar. This 14 here and the 14 here, either side of this 59. Why? Because of the release date of that album was 4/14, or you could do it the other way, 1/4/4, and then we get into all the bloody rapture stuff. Okay, so very, very, very interesting indeed. And then right below, correlating with this, Donald Trump's ear wound, 7/13, and becoming the 47th president. Why am I putting a line through there? The 47th president, and also all the stuff with the 2-3 stuff with Diana. All that 2-3 stuff that we were just looking at. I'm done. I've probably forgotten a million bits and bobs out of there. I don't know what else to say, to be quite honest. It's just, there's a ton of stuff for today moving into tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. It's probably over an hour long. Alright, thanks for watching, and hopefully you managed to put that in fast forward to get through it a little bit quicker. I don't know, what have I forgotten? Let's just leave it at that. A lot of this other stuff in here you've seen before, and I've talked about before, okay? So we'll just leave it at that. One other thing, 28, and yeah, 2847 is our cross-reference, is our reference number in the 28, which Donald Trump is supposedly going to the Super Bowl. So supposedly he's going to be there. So again, this is insanely interesting. And also the 7-6 with the 176 here, 9 and 2 reference to the Super Bowl day as well. So again, 7-6 is, I don't know what else to say. That's it, done. Alright, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye. God bless. Alright.